Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast. This is Bruce Hutchin, host and executive producer. Each week you will hear tips, techniques, strategies, and personal stories from some of the best and funniest whitetail hunters in North America. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do, tell a friend on social media. If not, tell me and I'll make it better. Thanks for listening, folks. This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 393. I am happy to introduce Mike Goffos today as a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and a good friend of mine, Kanan Maynard, down in Kentucky, recommended that I get a hold of Mike because Mike is the founder of Warriors in the Woods. What does that mean? He and his crew spend time taking guys and gals out for a fishing trip, for a walk, for a cup of coffee, or even for a hunt. They want to spend time with the veterans because they know the difficulty some of them are going through. And what better way than around a campfire talking about things when they're all on common ground? Sit back, relax, and enjoy Mike Goffos with Warriors in the Woods. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, and we're heading out to Ohio, and we're going to connect with Mike Goffos. And Mike is the founder of Warriors in the Woods. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on today.
Well, I'm excited to. I love your bio picture because that looks like a mighty fine steelhead, and we're going to talk about a little about that during the show. Steelhead fishing in the Great Lakes, and also we're going to talk today, folks, about whitetail hunting and what it is and what it's not for Mike. And he's got a humorous story he's going to share with us. And finally, and what we're really going to start off with is giving back. And Mike's founded Warriors in the Woods. So without further ado, Mike, let's jump right into Warriors in the Woods and why you founded it and what's going on.
Yep. Warriors in the Woods, it's an organization that we started when I got out of the military. It's just a way for us to give back and let guys out there that may be struggling a little bit after going through stuff with the military, letting them know that there's guys out there that still care. We basically just, raise money and take these guys out hunting, fishing. And it just seems to be very therapeutic for these guys. A good way to get them out and get them to open up and start talking about it a little bit. And, we'll help them out as much as we can.
Yeah, folks, Mike's being a little humble because I know I've got a good friend, and you've heard the story of Katie Maynard down in Kentucky, and life wasn't easy post military, that's for darn sure. And you can listen to a show on Whitetail Rendezvous, just Google Kenny Maynard. But a big part of his recovery and coping and all the things that our veterans go through, both men and women, was Warrior in the Woods. Now, what was so special about you guys reaching out to Kenny? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, what actually happened was my wife works up at the Cleveland Clinic here in Ohio, and she met Kenny through the Cleveland Clinic. They just kind of started talking, and she kind of told him about our organization and everything like that. He ended up reaching out to us, and we got hooked up. Went out and met him, talked for a while. He's a really great guy. He wanted to get involved with our organization as well, so he could also help out other veterans. So, he's a great guy. He loves being outdoors, so it seemed like a perfect fit.
So, you mentioned that you take guys out. How do you meet those guys? And if somebody's listening to this, they say, "Hey, I'm kind of interested in what these guys are doing." Do you have chapters throughout the country? Kind of explain your organization.
Well, we don't have any chapters set up yet. We're based out here in Northeast Ohio. We're relatively new. This is something that we started up or got started in the summer of 2015. So, we're about 2 years old. But it's something that I kind of started on my own, didn't have any real help with or really didn't have any clue what I was doing. I just knew this is what I wanted to do. Just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, getting this thing going. But it's just hunting and fishing for me is a way to just relax and get out there and forget about life for a while. And I just wanted to give that opportunity to other guys as well that may not have the opportunity to go out and do it themselves. And we do a lot of outdoor shows through Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and we go and we set up booths and we sell raffle tickets and stuff to raise money for these trips that we send guys out on. And we meet a lot of veterans through the shows that we do. And we have guys sign up. We put them on a list and we'll kind of go through and randomly pull names and start setting these guys up on trips. And we have a Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook, Warriors in the Woods on Facebook. And you can send us an email at warriorsinthewoods@hotmail.com. But like I said, we do a bunch of trips, do fishing, hunting. If you guys are interested, look us up on Facebook or send us an email, and we'll see what we can do, and hopefully we can get you out.
Now, you're just in the Ohio area, or do you have people down in the Carolinas, Kentucky, Illinois? What are some of the places that you have guys that'll take other guys or gals out?
We do a lot of fishing up in Michigan, up on Lake St. Clair. There's guide service up there, TKO Fishing. He's a great guy. We're taking a guy up later this month up to a place called Watson's Cabby Lodge up in northern Ontario for a 3-day fly-in trip for northerns and walleye.
Man, the ice isn't going to be out. Wait a minute. I've done that. Come on, you're pushing it.
Yeah, they said it should be out by the time we get up there. We'll see.
Yeah, with a float plane, it's awful hard landing on that hard ice.
Oh yeah, yep. But we do a lot of hunting around here in Ohio as well. I've got some relatives that have property around Northeast Ohio, and buddies that'll take some of these guys out and help us get guys out in the woods hunting. And basically, we just try and meet guides wherever we go when we go to these outdoor shows and see if there's try and connect with people that are willing to help out.
Now, how are you funded?
Right now, we do a lot of we do gun raffles. So we sell a bunch of raffle tickets, and that's where we get a majority of our money from is selling raffle tickets for guns.
Now, is that pistols or long guns, shotguns? What kind of guns?
We do shotguns, rifles, pistols. I think this raffle we have going on right now, we've got the SIG P229 Legion Series 9mm pistol. We've got a Benelli Super Vinci 12 gauge semi-auto shotgun, and we also have a UTAS. It's called an XTR-12. That's also a semi-automatic 12 gauge, but it's set up like an AR-15. So that's a pretty cool gun.
So can you only sell them in the state of Ohio for raffle tickets, or can they be sold any place?
They can be sold any place, as long as your state or the county you live in doesn't have any restrictions on the firearms that we're raffling off. We went up to New York, and their gun laws are a little different than ours here in Ohio. So we had to leave a couple of the guns at home. We couldn't take them with us to the show, but basically what we do is when we pull the raffle tickets, the first ticket pulled gets the first choice of the firearm, and we go down the list, and everybody gets a choice, but the last ticket pulled, they get whatever firearms left. So people are usually willing to help out and support a good cause.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So if somebody's interested in that, do you post that on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, we do that on our Facebook page as well.
All right. And again, the Facebook page?
Well, it's just Warriors in the Woods. Just look us up on Facebook, and it should pop right up.
That's great. And let's get down to the core, the heart of the matter. I like to say, why'd you really start this? what was the driving force between, you saying, okay, I'm going to reach out and put something together? Because there's a lot of organizations for veterans. There's no question about that. And it's so why did Mike decide I'm going to do this?
Well, after we got back from our Iraq deployment, we just got back from Iraq and we're refitting and getting ready for a future deployment to Afghanistan. And we had a guy come out to Fort Riley. He was an old Vietnam veteran. He took 5 of us out for a weekend on a pheasant hunt. Paid for everything out of his own pocket. Took us out. We had a great time, and just seeing the positive impact it had on the guys I was with after the deployment and everything we went through. It was just I wanted to give that same opportunity to other guys. It was like a free pass for the weekend. You didn't have to worry about anything. All you had to do was go out, have a good time with your buddies, and just forget about life for a while. So that's why I wanted to start this organization.
Now, how many members do you have?
Oh man, probably about 300 guys that
Wow.
that are on the list to go out on trips. So we try and get everybody out that we can, but so we don't have unlimited funds. Like I said, we try and make it fair for everybody and try and help as many guys as possible. And right now we're actually trying, looking around at getting some property and to be able to set up our own property, manage our own property, and kind of put like a lodge out there on the property. That way we can bring multiple guys in, and we can even bring the entire family in instead of just a veteran for the weekend. We can bring the whole family out for a weekend and set everybody up. Because the families sacrifice a lot too when these guys go overseas or go on deployments. So we want to be able to include the family as well.
Sounds like you need to raffle off a couple of Toyota Tundras or Ford 150s or Chevys or GMCs, whatever somebody cares about.
Yep.
I'd head to the dealership and tell them what you're doing and tell them why you're doing it and get some juice behind it because what a honorable thing. I guess that's the thing I would say. What an honorable thing to do. Give your time, effort, for other guys, and we all know people that it's been hard and it'll be hard most of their life, and guys like you stepping up and making a difference. And I always heard, what's the old story about the starfish, hundreds of starfish in the ocean, and you go pick one at a time, and somebody come up and says, well, what about all the rest? He says, well, it makes a difference just for that one. He's
Yep.
happy. So you can't take care of everybody. You wish you could, but you can't. But the ones you do, that means a lot. I guess that's the moral of that story.
Yeah.
For sure. So what kind of things do you need right now? If somebody says, well, I got this or I got that, when you're looking for land in Ohio, what area of Ohio or Michigan?
We prefer a place in Northeast Ohio, somewhere, because I'm still working full time. My wife's working full time and going to school. So we could find a piece of property close to home that we could go out and manage on the weekends and everything like that, and take care of the property instead of driving 4 or 5 hours every weekend to go try and take care of the property and everything like that. It'd be ideal to find something close to home, but it doesn't always work out like that. And if it does, great. If not, we'll make some more sacrifices and we'll still do it.
So what are you looking for? 10 acres on Lake Erie or
we're
river?
we're hoping anywhere between 50 to 100 acres. Something with a pond or a river running through it. we're actually going to look at a couple properties this weekend. So, our families are my family and my wife's family are talking about helping out and helping us acquire a piece of property. So, like I said, 50 to 100 acres with some water on it, and I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah, well, folks, if you're up in Northeast, I know Mossy Oak properties and whitetail properties, lot of outdoor things, but get a little muscle behind this thing, and it can make a difference. Like I said, if it makes a difference in one person's life, because we know the dark side of what we're talking about, and what the families go through, not only the veterans, but their family and extended families. And if you can do anything to help, get a hold of Mike and go to Warriors in the Woods and touch base with them, because there's somebody out there listening to the show can make a difference. So it's up to you to pick up the phone or get on Facebook and make the connection. And saying that, let's switch it up a little bit. You shared a story with me about the past fall, and a humorous story about whitetail hunting. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, this fall, my son was this past fall. He was 5 years old, and he's been dying to get out and go hunting with dad. So this year, I finally decided, maybe I'll take him out this year. So, my cousin's got some property we hunt, and he put up a nice box, elevated box blind. So I didn't have to worry about strapping him into a tree stand or making sure he didn't fall out. He could just sit up there and run around and not worry about him falling out or whatever. And we get out to the stand a little late. We're coming up through the field, and a deer takes off right out from underneath the stand. And I was like, no, whatever. We're probably not going to see anything the rest of the morning after that. So we climb up in the stand, and we're sitting there. And my son's got his binoculars, his little binoculars and his rangefinder, and he's hanging out the windows and looking around. I'm kind of sitting there trying to take a nap, and he leans in and goes, Dad, there's a deer. I'm like, no, there's not. You don't have to lie. I know there's not a deer. He's like, Dad, no, really, there's a deer. Just look, shoot it. Like, Austin, stop lying. I know there's not a deer out there. Dad, just look, there's a deer. Sure enough, I lean forward and look out the window. There's a big doe standing 15 yards right outside the window.
No way.
So, this is the first time we'd ever hunted out of this blind, and I'm using a crossbow. So, the windows are kind of narrow on it, so the crossbow is still inside the blind. And I thought I had, clear shot, enough room. The limbs weren't going to smack the inside of the blind or anything like that. Lined up, knew I was good, pulled the trigger, and I just said, bam! The left limb caught the inside of the window and kicked the arrow just enough. And I watched the arrow go right in front of this deer's chest. Then my son turns and looks at me and he goes, "Way to go, Dad."
Oh no.
So that was the first time my son went out hunting with me, and Dad blew it.
Oh my goodness, that's a great story. I love that. Yeah. You'll never live that down.
Nope. Yeah. No, I'll definitely never live that one down. He still reminds me about it.
Now, did you take him? Did you go back out again, or?
Oh yeah, we went out a couple times after that. So I mean, he still loves to go out. He's bugging me to go out turkey hunting. Turkey just opened up today up here.
Yeah.
So he's wanting to go out, try and call some turkeys. We'll see. We'll have to get him out there in the woods.
Now, can he hunt yet, or is he just tagging along?
He's just tagging along right now, but he loves being out there.
So, is he going to start hunting with a shotgun, rifle, crossbow, compound? What?
We'll probably start him off on the crossbow. So he's got a little used crossbow that we have some targets set up in the backyard. He goes out, practices shooting every once in a while when the weather's decent or we're not out fishing for steelhead. So,
Well, that's a great segue right there, and let's talk about. I don't know how many people love the fish, but I sure do, and have fished, quite a few places. But let's talk about because you got spring steelhead, then you got the fall run, right?
oh yeah.
The So how does that work?
Well, spring, spring's crazy. Is everybody out here goes out fishing for steelhead in the spring? You want to get out and do any decent fishing, you're waking up at before dawn and trying to get a spot on the river. Because if you don't get out there before dawn, you're not going to find a spot all day.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, I mean it gets pretty crowded up here unless you can unless you hike way back in, or you find a little creek where they're running up that nobody knows about, or only a few people know about. But yeah, the spring it's hard fishing up here in the spring. I mean, there's a lot of fish, but there's also a lot of guys in the river.
No, is it like I fished up in the Kenai and stuff? Is it like combat fishing? Is that what you're talking about?
Uh, yeah, I mean it can be. I mean, we've been we've hooked into fish before in a hole. You'll be fishing a small hole. You'll hook into a fish, and you'll start walking it down the river. Fighting the fish, and all of a sudden you turn around. And there's 5 guys coming down the bank fighting to get into your hole that you just caught that fish out of.
No way.
Yep. It's always good to have a buddy with you up here when you're fishing for steelhead in the spring. Somebody that can kind of sit in the hole while you're fighting the fish, or vice versa.
Now, are you are you fly fishing, spinner fishing, egg sack, or how do you catch them?
We fly fish a lot. We'll take a stone fly and we'll drop an egg pattern off the back of that, probably about 12 inches off the back of that stone fly, and just drift it down through the holes and stuff, and they'll just nail that egg pattern. Or we'll throw streamers and swing flies down through the holes and stuff like that early spring when they're a little more aggressive and they're not as beat up or worn out from spawning.
And so steelhead are rainbows, right? That come out of the Great Lakes.
Yep. Yeah, they're mostly stock fish up here in the Great Lakes. We've got Ohio's got a stocking program. Pennsylvania has a stocking program as well, and we'll get some stock fish out of Canada every once in a while too. So we got a pretty good stocking program around here, and we just get a lot of fish from all over the place.
So how big are these fish? Are they 5 pound, 10 pound, 20 pounds?
You'll catch some smaller fish between 2 or 3 pounds, and we've caught them all the way up to 10 pounds. We've seen bigger caught as well. I mean, we were out last year, and guy ended up catching a 12 pound 3 ounce steelhead in the fall. That was a decent sized steelhead for up here.
Well, yeah. I mean, so you just mentioned, because I'm familiar with fishing out of Lake Superior for steelhead. Now in the fall, we used to fish for browns. That's what we fish for. So there's 2 runs of steelhead.
Yep. Yeah, we get the spring run and then we get the fall run. So yeah, it's the fall. Fall is usually pretty good. Once the weather starts turning and it starts, that sleet and rain mix, a lot of guys tend to leave the rivers, and that's usually when I find the best time to go fishing is when the weather takes a turn for the worse.
So now I thought the steelhead came in the spring to spawn, right? So why are they coming back in the fall?
I don't know if they're coming up chasing shad. in the fall. I know they, they come up in the spring to spawn, but I'm not 100% sure why they're running back up in the fall. So I've got to do a little bit more research on that one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know folks were kind of bouncing around here, but Whitetail Rendezvous is about real people and real places, and so we'll swing back around to Warriors in the Woods, and what would you like to say to all my listeners across North America about how they can reach out, even if they don't reach out through you guys. How can they reach out to people and give them a helping hand?
I'm sure the majority of the people listening um, either are veterans, have a family member that's a veteran, or know a friend that's a veteran. Well, then, just talk to these guys. Sit down and talk to them and listen to them. Offer to take these guys out hunting, fishing, because it could make a world of a difference in their lives. For just having somebody to talk to, or having somebody take them out and showing them, what it's like to be in the outdoors and how great it is. Just take the time and talk to people. Sit down and listen. That's all you really got to do is listen to these guys.
Yeah, and it's my thing is it's really easy to buy a guy a cup of coffee or a gal a cup of coffee and just sit, and that's the biggest thing is just listen, and that's how Kenny and I get together. Courtney, his wife, said she said he had to get on my show because he really wasn't talking to a lot of folks, and it sure opened my eyes, because we had a pretty frank discussion. It was a great interview, and he's one heck of a hunter, that's for sure. He get that buck, he stalked that buck, and he got right up and jumped him out of his bed and shot him.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, he was pretty excited about that.
well, yeah, anybody be excited about
Oh,
that.
yeah. So,
That's for sure.
yeah, we're actually,
So, Mike, go
I
ahead.
was going to say, we're actually meeting up with Kenny this weekend. He's coming up here to Ohio, and then him and I are going to head up to Lake St. Clair this Saturday and do some smallmouth fishing. So, just get a chance to find out a little bit more about Kenny and get to know him a little bit better, and just have a good time catching fish together.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and with that, let's give you a couple minutes to give some shout outs, and then we'll wrap the show.
All right. Well, definitely want to give a shout out to Kenny. If it wasn't for Kenny, I wouldn't be on this show talking to you right now. So he told me I needed to get in touch with you and get on your show. So I definitely want to give a shout out to Kenny and my buddy John Crow. We've been friends since before kindergarten. He's helped me out a lot with this organization, taking time off of work and doing these shows and trips with me on the weekends. And I couldn't do it without him. And my wife Gina and my son Austin, and the rest of my family, because without their support, I wouldn't be doing what I was doing. That's about it.
Well, Mike Goffos, thank you so much for just stepping out and making a difference, and one person at a time, and touching the lives of a lot of people, and folks. One more time, you can do the same thing in your community. It doesn't have to be at the level that Mike and his crew are doing, but there's somebody that you're going to meet today that a simple smile, shake of a hand, a thank you, or a simple thing. Hey, let's grab a cup of coffee, and you can make a difference in a veteran's life. So, on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous across North America, all our thousands and thousands of listeners, thanks, Mike, for what you're doing, and I really appreciate you coming alongside Kenny Maynard, because Kenny's to me and a lot of other people, he's a pretty special man.
Yes. Thanks again for having us on today.
Hold on your seats for the next episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're going to visit with Roadkill Art. What is Roadkill Art? Well, you're going to have to listen to the show, but John Kriminger is from the Carolinas, and he's been hunting the same farm since he was a little boy, and it's his great-great-grandfather's farm, so the hunting tradition's alive and well, but most important, you're gonna roll, you're gonna laugh, you might even cry with the stories that this guy's got, so stay tuned for Roadkill Art.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.